It's been 20 years since it premiered,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
yeah. Aloha, my bros and Bretts. Welcome back to a new episode of the Let's Get Chaotic podcast with a very special guest, the Paytonic Master himself, Mark Thompson.
Hey.
This is the craziest day of our lives, I think, currently.
It was very exciting hearing that you were going to be here. Like, whenever Matt told me, I was like super excited.
Oh, great. I
Like-
apologize for making you guys wait. Today's
No.
been a
Oh,
crazy
oh,
day.
it's fine.
It was worth the wait. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just like Peyton, which obviously that's what we're here for mostly, but you've played a lot of great characters that, I still really like. It's just awesome. Like, I remember you from like Yu-Gi-Oh, a lot of 4Kids stuff. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I specifically,
So many Pokemon.
and Righteous knows this, I specifically know you for Kid Muscle. And I am such a big Kinnikuman fan.
Yeah.
When he told me we were gonna get to interview you, I was like, "Oh my god, it's Kid Muscle!"
Usually we get together in the morning. So when you said you were available in the evening, I messaged Cam and he's like, if 8 p.m. is when we get Kid Muscle, we take the time slot.
That's great.
But I was very excited.
to have some cow.
Oh my god, yes,
It's
I
awesome.
love it.
So obviously, interview. I've got a list of questions here, mostly chaotic related.
Yeah.
What Cam and I set up is that we're going to start with some icebreakers that we did in our first episode, whole bunch of chaotic, and then a section for the non-chaotic stuff because we're fans of so much of the stuff you're in and have done.
All right, cool. Yeah. Be patient
So-
with me because Chaotic was maybe how many years ago was it now? But I might not remember all the minutia, or some of the characters.
I mean, that's fair. It's been 20 years since it premiered,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, almost.
And yet we still love it.
I think
Yeah.
it's a great show. I was always bummed it didn't continue on, but I thought it was really, really great.
Yeah,
It's
well,
always hard
here's-
going up
here's
against
hoping.
other TCGs that are so established.
yeah. When you're on the same channel as Yu-Gi-Oh, especially, it's got to be super.
You got to go up against
Right.
Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and I think was Magic a thing yet? I think it was, or it was
Oh, well,
right around the
Magic,
yeah. Like,
Yeah,
But yeah.
it's just a stuffed market. But I mean, the comeback, super
I'm
exciting.
so excited for it. Starting off, the first question, because I got some icebreakers, is which tribe of the 4 initial tribes, or even Marillions, was your favorite?
Oh no. Gosh, I don't really know. I guess like what was Kaor? Was he
He was an underworld.
Underworld?
Underworlder.
I really did like that one, and I liked Nadrin was water.
Yeah, overworld. Yeah.
Overworld. Okay, let me go with Overworld then, because I want to be a good guy, not a bad guy.
Yeah.
That's fair.
but I did like doing Nadrin a lot. So
That bleeds into the second question, which I guess you kind of answered, is who's your favorite chaotic creature? I want to say, by the way, some of these questions I got from Reddit and Facebook. I asked some people around there as well.
oh, nice. It's kind of like I guess choosing my babies, because I really did love all of the characters on there. Like, so it's hard for me to narrow them down. It's probably a tie between. So wait, was it like it was probably a tie between Kaor? It's a 3-way tie between Kaor, Nadrin, and is it Hearing? That was
Yeah.
Yeah, hearing.
yeah.
Love
Maybe a
hearing.
closer tie between Kaor and Hearing.
I love hearing.
But Kaor was like super hard on the throat.
I could
Oh, I
imagine.
bet.
Do him sporadically here, needed a break.
So
so
we Cam and I also do some voice acting stuff, and we end up doing a lot of gruff voices. So we get the like doing the gruff voice sporadically, and then immediately going, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that."
yeah, because like I just went by how he looked in the art. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll do this, and then it's like, oh wait, how much is he here?
He's one of the
How
main
often does he talk?
characters. Oh
Yeah.
crap! That happens so much. Where it's just, yeah, I got a voice for him. Then you do it and you get the job, and then it's just, oh no, now I have to do it all the time.
yeah.
Yeah. Who is your favorite of the human characters in chaotic?
Oh well,
He might
I
be
mean,
biased.
biased, but Peyton.
That
That was like my Jack Black rip off. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, let's go, guys.
yeah. When I was young, I didn't know who Jack Black was, so I didn't piece that together then. And then I
Oh,
grew up
okay.
and watched it, and I was like, "Oh, that's just Jack Black."
Yeah,
Once you realize it, you can't unsee it. Yeah,
Yeah.
hear it, I guess.
Did you watch Chaotic when it was airing?
A little bit, yeah. Like, it was always a huge treat to get to be on a show like that. So
Yeah.
you kind of want to watch it to see what are the sound effects and what's the music and what are the other actors doing. And so I would watch it kind of initially to kind of get a sense of all that. But then it's like this was pre-streaming stuff. So
Yeah.
it was like if you didn't catch it in that morning window, unless you were breaking out your VCR and taping it, it was a little bit harder to watch it. So I'm sure there's a ton that I have not seen, and obviously you get to see some of it when you're doing ADR fixes and like kind of if a line was needed to be rewritten or technical reasons, you would get to redo some lines. And so you got to see bits of the animation when you were doing it that way. But yeah, I've only seen maybe a handful of episodes, but what I saw I really, really liked, and I was super excited about it. So
I hope with the card game coming back, if they bring back the cartoon, you get to come back.
Oh, so is the card game coming back?
Yeah, so it was a couple weeks ago. We ended up going on hiatus on the podcast because of personal stuff. And like the day after we announced that hiatus, the game's website updated, and they're like, yeah, we're bringing the card game back. October of this year is a limited drop, and then January next year it's going worldwide.
Cool. Is it
I've
who's got the rights? Is it the same?
Brian C. Gannon, so one of the original producers, I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
Of the show and everything, and they've been re-releasing the episodes in like HD quality on the website as well, and that has me a little hopeful that maybe they'll continue it at some point.
Oh gosh, that
Fingers
was
crossed.
great.
So you did mention earlier that Peyton was Jack Black inspired, and I had a question about that. Do you remember if you based him off of like any specific Jack Black character, or if it was just the actor himself?
I mean, it's kind of the actor himself, but it's like if I had to pick a performance, it would be like School of Rock and Kung Fu Panda. Like it was just that kind of like, super intensity and like extra, like weird slang and pronouncing words syllabically and just, like different kind of mannerisms and stuff like that. So
very energetic and
Awesome.
eccentric mannerisms.
yes.
Yeah. A guy who's like maybe hard to follow, but very fun to follow.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. You've also mentioned some of the other roles you played. You mentioned Nadrin and Hearing and Kaor. I was curious if there are any other roles that you played that maybe went more under the radar.
I'm sure there were, but this is where my 20-year-old middle-aged man memory is going to fail us.
That's fair.
I won't remember. I mean, if there's I was just recording a video game with Darren Dunstan, and I could have asked him, and he might have been able to tell me, but so I honestly don't remember. But the way it was at 4Kids was, it was kind of like, okay, you're here today. This is who appears in this episode. Can you do a voice like this? Okay, great. Do this. So like there wasn't like initially you would audition for like the main roles, but any of like if there was a monster or a character that was just in this particular episode or a couple of episodes, since they already had you in for Peyton or Kaor or whoever, they would often, just as a way of cutting on budget and time, say, okay, do this one as well. So like you'll find that a lot of the 4Kids actors did a ton of characters on their shows because of that reason. It was just like, do this, and when you're done, go into that room and do a show, do a voice on Wings Club, and then come over here, and so it was just constantly so. And that's why none of us really remember what we did, because it was just like,
That's
here.
There's a lot of bundles. Like just try to get
Yeah.
as much as you can while you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember, what was like the general experience of being on Chaotic itself? Like just this like whole brand new thing, right? No one's ever heard of it, and then for a little bit it's really popular.
Yeah, I mean, it was super exciting. Like, 4Kids was for a while just trying to, like, after Pokemon, they were like trying to kind of get anything to hit. So they experimented a lot. So we did like a show called Funky Cops. We did a show called Fighting Foodons, which was
I was hoping you'd mention Fighting Foodons.
Yeah.
We talk about that one a lot.
Okay.
Foodons.
So like, there were a lot of shows that you were like, huh? Like, what's this? And how's this going to work? We did a show called Crash Test Dummies where It was like literal
Oh my
crash
God.
test dummies in a car.
Yeah.
So this one was one that was like, ooh, wow, this like the art style is interesting. The concept feels really cool. There was a lot because it was an original property. There was a lot more creativity, or I shouldn't say creativity, but there was a lot more room to experiment with humor or kind of character voices, and you weren't bound necessarily by what had been done, in a previous language or a previous production. Like you could kind of experiment a little bit more. So that all felt really fun. The writers were like right there, like in the building. So if anyone had an idea, they could bounce it off of them, and like at the beginning of the session, we'll be like, hey, what if we do this? And by the end of the session, that would, kind of snowball into a whole new scene or a whole new idea. And so that was all super exciting. And, just getting to see the animation first come in and kind of that new style of like that kind of what is it called? Cell shading? Is that right? Or am I getting that right?
I think so.
I think that's what you'd
It was like a
call
2D
yeah.
kind of flash style animation. It
Yeah.
felt newer at that time. It felt like a kind of a cutting edge, like I hadn't seen too many shows do stylistically that. And there was a budget component to it because it was easier to do, but I just liked the way it looked. Actually the first season was not. The first season was more traditional, and I actually preferred the look of that. But and then I saw they kind of made that adjustment, I think, as
The very anime style later.
Yeah.
I always preferred the first season myself. It just looked a
I
lot
did
more
too.
alive. Like
Yeah,
there was a lot more movement in the backgrounds and whatnot. And
Yeah, and then they tried to cut kind of.
it gets a lot more stiff with the later animation style. But
Yeah. So yeah, it was exciting, and I loved it, and it felt really, really cool. And I think I remember like at one point the cards actually came in, and wasn't there like a digital component to the cards as well?
Yeah. So Chaotic was made to kind of be like the first online card game before that really took off in its own space as well.
Yeah.
If Chaotic had been made like a couple years later, it probably would have, not been canceled.
Yeah. So like all that was super exciting to kind of, because it just felt like, oh, this is a fresh way of doing it, and then like, I guess if I'm being honest, like it felt like as it progressed, there were more and more budget cuts and more like the animation style changed. I think we got wind that the product wasn't selling as well as they wanted it to, and so you could kind of start to see the writing on the wall, and then it just started to feel like, oh man, and it was just sad to see it go, but when it initially went out of the gate, it was super exciting. I loved I was a big fan of like G.I. Joe and Transformers and He-Man. We were talking about like growing up. So like it felt reminiscent of some of those shows in terms of the action adventure style and the tie-ins to the stuff that I would like. So I just wish it had continued, but maybe we'll get a second chance with what you guys are saying. I didn't know it was coming. The card game was coming back, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we in I think 2019 it was, Brian C. Gannon got the rights to distribute it again, and we'd been waiting since then. And in the first episode of the podcast, Cam was like, "I don't think it's gonna happen anymore."
Oh,
and then
I'm a pessimist at heart.
he put it out to the world, and the world proved us wrong.
I am happy to be proven wrong.
Did you happen to play the card or online game at all when it was up?
No, like I think I might have opened. I think we got like a pack or box or something of cards, and I think I opened it with my kids just to see what they looked like. But I never actually learned to play. Although now I have become obsessed with Star Wars Unlimited, and then recently I just got into Magic. Like I had a friend years ago that tried to teach me, and it never stuck. And then now I have a group of guys that started teaching me because Turtles came out on Magic, and the Marvels one coming out this month, and then Star Trek's in the fall. So I'm getting sucked into that as well. So I'm a little bit more versed in TCGs in general now, so I could maybe know my way around more instinctively if I ever come across some. So.
Well, if I ever run into a Patonic Master in the new online game, I'll just assume I'm battling you, and I'll fight for my life.
Yeah, I'll have to remember that. That'll be my username.
I think that's all the chaotic-related questions I had. Cam, do you have anything in mind, chaotic-related? Or is it all Kid Muscle?
No. Not everything. No, he's also Megatron,
Oh, yeah.
He is also Megatron. He's also Casey Jones, your favorite Turtles character.
This is true. Like,
Goongala.
Goongala.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, it's just really cool getting to talk to someone who has been like a pretty consistent voice for most of my childhood. It's just
Oh, neat. Yeah.
it's very nice getting to talk to someone who just got to do so much that I want to do later on in my life. So
Yeah,
it's
pretty
very
cool.
interesting. It's very fun.
I'm very excited to have been a part of so many of those shows. Like I was a fan of the original Turtles. I was a fan of the original
Yeah.
Transformers. So like I've gotten to be a part of a lot of properties that I was a fan of growing up. So that's kind of a cool full circle thing, or kind of a neat thing to get to be a part of, just being a fan of that stuff in general. So
He's also the Chaz.
Yeah,
from
Chaz.
GX.
I was literally
Yeah.
last night while rendering the episode of the podcast that went up today, watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
oh wow,
I was like, is
Funny.
Chaz in it?
yeah,
Yeah, Chaz shows up. He loses to the one Raw player
okay,
by Eric Stewart, I think.
probably.
Sounded a lot like James from Pokemon. So
I
Yeah,
always played a lot of characters. I remember, because I know way too much about Ultimate Muscle, he was like the casting director on that, and he played a lot of people himself.
yeah.
I
Which
mean,
again, was this thing of like, oh, we got to get this episode up by the end of the week. What do we do? So,
it's easier to direct yourself as an actor than someone else. Get it done quicker.
yeah, totally.
You did mention being part of a bunch of childhood properties, and that has me wondering, which is my first general question, I guess. Do you have any dream roles that you really want to play?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I really have been super fortunate. Like I've gotten to work on a lot of things that have kind of fulfilled that. Like I think my like dream of dreams would be to maybe do some live action stuff, and I would love to be a live action Jedi in something. I got to do a very small role in a Star Wars cartoon called Star Wars Visions, and I was a three-headed drummer in the Tatooine Rhapsody episode. Which is pretty cool. But I would love a chance to work on one of the longer running series, some of the kind of animation stuff that Lucasfilm does. I would really, really love to do that. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and that's one property that I haven't gotten to work on yet that I would really like to, whether that's animation or audio stuff But yeah, I mean, I've been pretty fortunate because I've gotten to do Transformers, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtles, a ton of really cool stuff. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So this is a question I put on here because if I ever make it into my career, it's the question I'd love to be asked the most. What got you into acting?
I guess my mom, she recognized pretty early on that I really enjoyed performing, and she immediately got me signed up for like singing lessons and improv classes, when I was, I think, like maybe 10 or 12 or something like that.
Ooh.
And then I had some great teachers in school that also picked up on that, and I got involved in like school plays, and then like we had like forensics, like speech and debate club type stuff, and you would do like competitive monologues. It was like called dramatic interpretation or humorous interpretation, and you would get up and perform a scene from a play or a novel, and they would rate you on like diction or different performance things. And so I kind of did that competitively in high school and then did like musicals and plays and things like that. And those teachers like really nurtured that and kind of really helped me maybe have faith that maybe this is something I could do. Like my Joanne Hofstetter, Joanne Hamm, Mr. Frost, like they really nurtured me and kind of gave me the confidence that maybe you should do this. Like maybe you should actually try out for this for college. And then my mom again kind of championed that and kind of gave me the confidence to actually give that a go. And so I pursued it in college and then kind of fell into voiceover. Like I was studying acting at NYU, and there was just a random audition on a corkboard saying, if you want to audition for this cartoon, leave a voice on this answering machine. So I literally just called up this random number and left a goofy voice on the answering machine, and they called me in for a callback. And that show did not go into production, but another one did. It was called Daria. It was a spin-off of Beavis and Butthead, and that was kind of my first ever job. Like I did 3 characters on that show, and kind of being on that led to Pokemon, which led to Yu-Gi-Oh!, which led to Ultimate Muscle, and a bunch of shows at 4Kids and Chaotic, and then that led to an agent, and then the agent led to Star Wars audiobooks, and now here I am still doing this stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, Cam, throw in some Ultimate Muscle questions because I know you're waiting.
But it just sticks with me to this day though. Like I watched Ultimate Muscle as a kid, I was always a wrestling kid. I always
Oh,
loved
cool.
pro wrestling and whatnot. I always got made fun of it, but I always still liked it. I never stopped. And Ultimate Muscle was just, it was just a different version from the real life stuff. Like the real life stuff, there's always like, it's like they're superheroes, but not really, because, you know, they're still real people, and the real people can get really, really crappy. Like, but with something like a fictional thing like Ultimate Muscle, which I would eventually discover as Kinnikuman, you can just like these characters and like their stories, and you don't have to worry about something bad happening. And that just, it stuck with me a lot when I was getting older. And whenever I discovered it was like originally Kinnikuman, I got so into that. And then they finally finished subbing the manga and the anime, which was the best day of my life.
It was interesting because I also did not know that it was Kinnikuman when I first started on the show. And my brother and I used to collect those little pink.
Yeah, the muscle toys.
Yeah, and I didn't know that what like they were vaguely familiar, and I was like, what? These guys look similar. And then it was somewhere in the first season or second season that somebody pointed out that, and I was like, what? Like I used to have those. Like, so it was really cool.
Something I always appreciated about Ultimate Muscle's dubs specifically, that a lot of other 4Kids dubs I don't remember really doing, is that at first they tried making their own things with, like, they called it Kinniku Buster, the Butt Buster, but in a few episodes, they ended up changing it to Kinniku Buster and started using the actual Japanese titles and whatnot. And that was always, I always appreciated that they went the extra mile to do that. Because
real pioneer.
You really don't have to do that, especially with like a show like Kinnikuman, which is like as popular as it is in Japan. It is not that well known in America. Like it's getting it got to resurface a little bit because Netflix was doing the anime adaptation of the Perfect Origin arc, but it's still mostly unknown, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's always fun. Sometimes I'll go to these conventions, and every once in a while, mostly people are seeing me because of Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! But like every once in a while, somebody will recognize the Ultimate Muscle picture.
Yeah.
What? You know, because like, and it's super fun because the people that like that show really like that show, and the humor on that was bizarre and and you're like, what is this show? Like, what are we doing?
Amazing.
You know, so. But it was great.
Like your performance as Kid Muscle was my favorite. My second favorite was Brimmer as Sunshine.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I love Brimmer. Like him as Crocodile in 4Kids also is amazing. His voice is so good. And I'm pretty sure I watched Lupin the first recently. I'm pretty sure you were in that too with him. You were Brisson, right? Or was it Bresson? Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but yeah.
That movie is amazing. I love that movie.
Bremer was a stage combat teacher at NYU, so he taught me stage combat. And then I was like, Mr. Bremer? It was really cool to like get to be on a show with him. So
awesome. Yeah, his voice is so good.
Yeah.
We've got about 5 minutes before Zoom kicks us all out. So I've got one more question written down, right? Because you're in so many cool things and you've done so many cool and iconic roles that finishing off the interview, I felt it only right to ask what you're doing currently or what you're doing next.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So I'm doing a bunch of things. There's this show on Netflix called Bread Barbershop. And if you liked Ultimate Muscle, you might like Bread Barbershop. It's the premise is he's a talking piece of toast and he does cupcakes hairstyles as if it's like, you know, a barbershop or whatever. But the humor is very much in line with like almost like a SpongeBob or just really, really random and weird characters and stuff. So I believe there's another season eventually of that coming out, but there's a bunch of seasons already on Netflix of that. I'm doing a new version of Winx Club that's also on Netflix. Still doing Pokemon, still doing a bunch of Star Wars audiobooks. There's like 2 or 3 that are going to be coming out that we've already recorded. They're just kind of editing and putting together. Today, I was working on a really cool audiobook. I think it's called Juris Ex Machina, but it's kind of a similar premise to the Mercy movie, but the book came out first. But it's like this idea of like AI is now the judge and jury, and this kid gets accused of something he didn't do, and AI convicts him, and it's like, well, what do you do? And it's like part prison drama, part mystery, part, you know, sci-fi thing. And it's really, really good though. And so we're recording the audio for that. So bunch of cool stuff. And then I go to a bunch of conventions, and I'm about to do a bunch back to back this summer. So I'll be all over the place. If people want to check out my Instagram, I'm always kind of posting where I'm going to be. So
It was great to have you here. I'm still really surprised this actually worked and happened. I'm gonna be honest. I've got anxiety, so every time I sent an email, I was like, "Did I word that properly?"
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it's fine.
I apologize that it took me so long to get this to actually happen, but thank
No,
you.
it's perfectly fine.
It was worth it.
I actually remember I sent you one of those emails, and then I went on Instagram, and the first thing I see is you in a hospital, and I was like, "Oh, I'm adding stress."
Yeah.
Nabbit.
Yeah, I had a really bad bike accident, so but I'm
Oh, I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad you could be here.
yeah, no, this was fun. This was really cool.
I hope to hear more of you in the future. I know Cam does as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
would
maybe
love that.
one day, if the world loves us all, we'll all be in something together, and
That
our
would be
names will
great.
be credited alongside each other. But we'll see.
I'll look forward to that. That would be awesome. Good luck to you guys, because
Thank
it's
you
a
so
harder
much.
way to get in now. So I admire your gumption to give it a go.
Thanks for joining us, and thank you to everyone who watched this episode. I was going to say let's get chaotic, but that's at the beginning of the episode. I'm a little nervous still. Thanks for watching.